And we are seeing things going wrong in our online world, and very few people are taking action. And we hear a lot of talks about things like the Big Brother or Big Brother society. But I'd like to actually quote a late futurologist and a fellow Finn, Mika Mannermaa, who in his books wrote a lot about the future. And he wrote about how he actually doesn't believe in a Big Brother society. He's sort of more believing that we will be entering a some brother society, a society where there's always someone watching. Not necessarily the Big Brother, not necessarily the government, but someone. And he also made the note that we are living an aquarium life, where we have no walls, or we have walls, but they can be seen through. Now, some of this some brother watching mentality can be seen from the actual action of governments. For example, during just this year, in our labs at F-Secure, we've analyzed 5 malware families which we believe to be coming from the Russian government. Malware like Sandworm and Cosmic Duke, which have mostly been found from Ukraine, which is a country in the middle of crisis right now. Or malware like Havex, which is the first malware we've seen since Stuxnet that's actually trying to find and fingerprint factory automation gear. And we believe these are coming from the Russian government. And then we have the Chinese government. In fact, the very first targeted attacks launched by any government anywhere in the world we ever saw were coming from the Chinese government, and that was more than 10 years ago. And exactly a year ago, I was on this very stage speaking to you about attacks right here in Brussels, about attacks targeting local telcos, attacks that we now understand much better. A year later, we understand them much better. For example, we now know exactly where these attacks were coming from. They were coming from the UK intelligence, from GCHQ. We also know which exact malware was being used in these attacks. It's a piece of malware called Regin, which we believe was developed together with the British intelligence and the US intelligence. And we learned much more about the targets of these attacks, because there were much more targets than just what we knew a year ago. We, for example, know that this malware and these operations launched by the UK intelligence were targeting academics here in Belgium, professors, people like that. They were also targeting targets in Austria, including the IAEA, the International Atom Energy Agency in Austria. Now, we also know that one of the largest amount of targets anywhere in the world were in Ireland, which is a good indication of who's behind the attacks. Like, who's interested in Ireland? Well, United Kingdom is interested in Ireland. And it's quite remarkable when we have a situation like this, where fellow EU countries are launching active governmental funded malware attacks against fellow EU countries. But that's where we are today.